in December of '91. I was in a van and I hit some ice, and I went into a ditch and I hit a field road and it rolled end over end, and it was a T12L1 injury, and it was complete. In 2006, and at that time we started to garden. We moved to a farm, and our gardens kept growing and growing, and by 2010 we had decided we were going to commercialize them. And so I had my associates in accounting, and I thought, well, if we're going to do this commercial farming, I should, maybe get my bachelor's in accounting. And so I went, and I always knew about your agency, I knew it was there just because I was informed after my injury. And then I met with Marcia, I believe it was January of 2011. And at that time, she told me about your self-employment program, and I didn't realize you had a self-employment program. And so just, discussing that with her, it moved pretty quickly, and I became involved with it. It's nice to have Kim and Marcia, because they both did separate things, and they both had knowledge in different areas. And so for me, it was very helpful, because I could call either one of them, and if one didn't know, they'd say, well, that's kind of a Marcia question or a Kim question. And so they complemented each other very well, and they were able to always, answer my questions and help me through whatever I was having trouble with, and it worked out really nice because they were both very professional, and I enjoyed working with both of them. So, well, at the time, with my initial visit, I just wanted to take some classes, and I knew we were going to do the commercial farming part of it, and I thought it would just be a good thing to do in the off season to get my accounting degree, my bachelor's degree in accounting, and I just thought it would help the business. And so that was my point when I first went to visit, and then after realizing you had the self-employment program, at that point I just knew that there was a lot of things that could help in the business part of it, and I didn't realize that until my first visit with you.
But it was clear fairly quickly that Christy and her family were very focused on the agricultural components and the commitment to the land and providing vegetable farming, in which they had already started doing on a small scale, and were providing to a few Hy-Vees already that year. We debated her desire for further learning and her readiness to invest in college, looking at the typical things, but not only the cost, but the financial cost, the time cost, the energy cost of being a college student again. And with where she was in life, that was not the most exciting thing for her. And with further discussion, it became clear that the idea of having the degree was a means to the end of supporting the farm. With a little more discussion in terms of the labor division and how they were approaching things on the farm, it was obvious that client was as active and involved as possible, but there were some needs that, with some assistive technology or perhaps approaching from a different direction, she would be able to handle more effectively for herself and take a larger role in the farm.
As far as the assistant technology specialists, they were very professional. It was Hoang that I worked with first, and he came out and he looked at some of our hoop buildings and helped us out with some dimensions, and we ended up not actually using your services to do any of the stuff in the hoop buildings, but he was just very knowledgeable in the things that he told us and helped us through, and then we worked with Vienna from last year on, and both of them were very good to work with. They were very helpful and just very good about helping me get some things wrapped up, and that lift was just an amazing gift, and Vienna was very good about getting all that taken care of, so I appreciate that very much.
As an assistive technology specialist, our job is to support job candidates and counselors in being able to achieve the career goal that our job candidates want to achieve. With disabilities, however, we understand that in being able to overcome barriers, sometimes assistive technology is needed. In Christy's situation, there were multiple technologies that were available, and Christy and her family played a major role in understanding and researching what would be the right fit for her. I got a call from the counselor who explained to me that Christy and her family had been working with another agency that had an assistive technology specialist who recommended the use of a pulley type system to help her with transferring from her wheelchair or her track chair to another platform, whether it be her tractor or her track chair. The issue with being a farmer and using a pulley system is that that pulley system would be in one permanent area, and more than likely indoors. However, as farmers, and this is the fact of being a farmer, is that you're outdoors, and that system was not going to be effective in her situation. They had asked about a porta-lift system, and part of the assistive technology specialist's job is to ensure that they are getting a good price for the device or the system that they're using, and also to ensure that they have long-term support should something happen down the road and voc rehab is no longer involved.
We just researched the different things we could do, and it made the most sense to do the LLC for liability reasons. You know, when you're selling produce, you need to be careful, just simply because, and we were. I mean, we are meticulous the way we wash things and box things and grow things, and we were very careful. But even so, it was just an extra element of protection there. And I needed to be a 51% owner, and so the two just made sense, to have some protection and to put me as 51% owner at the same time. So that's the reason we went with the LLC.
What were some of the barriers that you faced as a farmer with disabilities?
Well, obviously there's things that are more difficult for me than others. There's certain produce that if it's on the ground, the zucchini is one of them, that it's harder to pick. I can do it, but it's harder. But it worked out really well because with Sue and then my husband Andrew, they could do a lot of those things I couldn't do. And to be honest, just the picking is one part of it, but then the washing, because we have to wash it all, and boxing and delivering, that's a big part of it too. And I was able to do a lot of that. My job was always the washing. I always washed and I always boxed. And then this year I delivered as well. My son and I made most of the deliveries. So. And I harvest some. I don't harvest nearly as much as my husband this year. Sue is no longer with us. She's moved on to other things. So this year it was just our family. And Andrew does most of the harvesting, and I do most of the washing and the boxing, and we both made deliveries. The barriers, just anything that's on the ground made it harder. But that chair helped, because that chair goes lower to the ground. It's just what makes sense time-wise, and we have a really good system, I think, now that he does most of the harvesting and I do the other end of it. So, and then I do all the paperwork and the bookwork. We have some fantastic hoes. I mean, not all hoes are created equally. So we have some really high quality hoes, stuff like that. A lot of it's manual. We have some good tillers, and the tractor is the thing. You helped us purchase that tractor, and it made a huge difference. It saves us a lot of time, because the tillers that we have were walk-behind tillers, and they took an enormous amount of time for him. And when we got the tractor, it was the gift of time and back-breaking labor, because it's a lot of work. So the tractor really has enabled us to do things much more efficiently and quickly. We just would try to manage our time the best that we could. But then in July we got the lift, and so now I can use this porta-lift system, and I can get in it, all by myself and go. So he doesn't. When we need to do things like that, and he doesn't have time, then I can go out and I can, put the attachments on and get rid of the weeds through the center aisles, things like that. That really, he just doesn't have enough daylight hours. So that will be very helpful. Just the different attachments that we have on the tractors that make it a lot easier. Now I will be able to get on there by myself with the porta-lift and do the track chair. I haven't talked very much about the track chair. The track chair has been wonderful. One thing that the track chair did, I was using just a small wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, that really didn't go through any type of friction very well. I mean, you hit dirt, you're going to get stuck. and that track chair goes through about anything. And so in that way, if we've had rain or I can get through. I can get through about anything out there that I need to. And so it has just made a tremendous difference with what I was able to do, because I wasn't very comfortable taking that motorized chair out there that I had before anytime I was all by myself, just because I could so easily get stuck. And I did more than once. It has a stand-up feature, and so if I'm reaching something high, I can stand up and reach it, and it's just, there's so many wonderful things about that chair that really open it. It has a wagon that has an attachment, so I can take it out and I can, fill it with, has different mounts that mount onto it, and so I can put my smaller tools that I use, any hose, or it has a place that I can, just attach it right on there and take them with me, so I don't have to try to carry all that. The portal lift for the tractor and the track chair both helped, because that track chair is kind of tricky to get into for really either my littler motorized chair or my manual chair, and so with that I'm able to safely get into it, and I feel pretty comfortable with that. And the tractor as well, because in order to get in the tractor, Andrew had to help me, and and he does a great job. It just wasn't a good thing for him, or it was hard, to get in the tractor. So not only did it enable me to get in the tractor, but it enabled me to do it safely. And the track chairs, especially the track chair, because the track chair is honestly the one that I get in several times a week, if not every day in the summer. So yeah.
Are we looking for devices and technology that is going to help job candidates overcome barriers? We're also wanting to make sure that the devices that we recommend is going to be safe to use, as well as
I think that's probably one of the biggest things, because it is really a lot of manual labor, and we're not spring chickens anymore. So that's the other thing about a lot of that technology is, we're just getting older, and so it all really helps. It helps us do it more efficiently and more quickly, and much less labor. That as we get older, it's going to be. This year we had produce that was perfectly edible, but it had marks here and there from hailstorms or too much water in the fields. We gave a lot of it away, and we try to do that every year. A lot of different places that you can go to get small business grants, but for someone with a disability, this IVRS program was perfect, because it's more catered towards people who are in my situation or in their situation, and so it's a little different than some small business grants in that way. And I would just recommend your agency, and I think that there's challenges. There's challenges in anything you do. There's weather challenges every single year, and there will be, but just keep on keeping on and be persistent. My case moved to me when it opened. It moved very quickly, and I'm very grateful for the equipment and for everybody there that helped me, and I really enjoyed my time working with Folk Rehab and the people there, and I just really am very grateful for all that you've done.